Hey everybody. So as you can tell, I'm not here in Austin today. It's a quiet day because of COVID-19. Still a little hot out here. Oh, look, there's a squirrel over there. Hey squirrel, how you doing? So that's hi to the squirrel. But it's a nice day here in Austin. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about the state court system. And I think that's important for us to know. And so I'm going to put up on the screen map of the state court system that you need to know. It's not going to be as detailed as you think it might be, but it'll come in handy. So I'm going to share a screen here somewhere. I'm going to share this screen so that you can see up here what I'm doing, and that you can actually see what I've been looking up, the history of Russia, some Amazon movies, and Know Your Ally in Britain, so you can see whatever I'm doing. So first off, let's talk about judges in Texas. Judges are primarily elected in partisan elections. Unlike in the federal system where the judge is appointed by the president, here they're elected. And like I say, partisan elections, RMDs on their names. And that could be, that's, well, what's the word I'm looking for? That's a terrible way of doing it. Because you're going to go in and vote in November. And now that a lot of cities, like my city, has had to push back its election till November, because we didn't want to have people voting in the middle of a pandemic and having to choose between their health and their voting rights. It just didn't seem fair. That ballot is going to be long. It's going to have the president, senators, representatives, state representatives, state senators. It's going to have all these people on here from the different courts, and it's going to have a lot of county people. It's going to be a wreck. I'll tell you, school boards on there. And so in our elections, you won't find my name until the bottom. And really that impacts me because it means I have a better chance of losing because no one's going to be looking at that bottom election. So if I lose, well, then more free time. But anyway, these people are elected. And it's a bad thing, too, because think about this. What do you know about judges? I mean, how do we rate a judge? By how many people they convict? How many people they put in prison? Is that a good way to do it? A family law judge? How do we rate those people and determine that they're good at their job? So they are elected and they serve different terms. Most of them will serve 4-year terms until we get to the Court of Appeals and then the Court of Criminal Appeals and the Supreme Court, where they serve 6-year terms. So let's talk here at the bottom, go down here to the bottom, and look at the municipal courts. Now, the municipal courts right here are really what we call trial courts. They have limited criminal jurisdiction. They hear traffic courts. If you get a ticket, you're going to go to muni court, and sometimes violation of city ordinances. So if you're shooting off fireworks in the city, you may end up here with a Class C misdemeanor. On the other side here, and by the way, muni court judges are hired by cities usually. Now, then you have JP courts, the Justice of the Peace. Now, to be a Justice of the Peace judge, you don't have to be an attorney. You have to be 18 and win an election. You get a 4-year term, but once you win the election, you have to come down right here to Austin, which is right behind me, and have to take a 14-day course on how to become a judge. Now you think that's crazy, and maybe it is, but these are not courts of record. There's not a stenographer taking notes there, none whatsoever. And so these cases are small claims courts where if somebody didn't mow your lawn, you can sue them for that, or they didn't finish your roofing. So they have limited civil jurisdiction. It's almost like people's court. Their criminal jurisdiction is usually a Class C misdemeanor, which are your lowest crimes and have a fine of about $500. Usually people don't bring their own attorneys because you might be suing somebody for $300 and your attorney costs you $500. So you get it there and you sue it yourself. It would be like you said, if you watch Judge Judy or something and you see them both going up there and arguing their case and that they have dollars, they have contracts of what was supposed to be done, and then they just decide who wins on who's got the most evidence. Now, the next level gets a little bit more complicated because at the county level, there are 3 different levels. And those levels are the constitutional county courts at law, and statutory probate courts. Now, constitutional county courts are created, as you can imagine, by the state constitution. And so they hear primarily Class A and B misdemeanors. There's one of these in each county. Now, Class A and B misdemeanors, what we've talked about in the previous lecture, are misdemeanors that that may have things like Class B is a solicitation of a prostitute. Class A could be a DUI. That's what they are. They serve up to a year in the county jail. Now, at these constitutional county courts, and there's 254 of those because there are 254 counties, they're presided over by a county judge who's elected. And if we're in, where are we at? Well, right now, I guess this is my Dallas class. We are in Dallas County. And so your county judge is Clay Jenkins. He's been on the news a lot with the COVID-19, but he doesn't hear a lot of cases because he also chairs the Commissioner's Court. And we'll come back to the Commissioner's Court later, but the Commissioner's Court is the principal policy-making body of the county. And so he doesn't hear cases, even though Commissioner's Court sounds like a court, it's not a court, it's a policy-making body. And so the county judge doesn't even have to be a lawyer. The Constitution says, well, you just have to be well-versed in the law, and that's it. So what happens to all those cases? Well, if you're in a rural area, let's say you live out in Loving County, population 147, your county judge can run the Commissioner's Court and run his courthouse too at the same time. But if you're in Dallas County or Tarrant County, you don't have time to do both. You can't do both judicial and administrative duties. So in urban counties like Tarrant or Dallas, the county judge does primarily administrative duties running the county, making sure we have roads and bridges and all that sort of stuff. And we'll talk more about that when we get into county government. So since they're too busy, the legislature creates new courts, sometimes called statutory county courts or county courts at law. And if you look under this chart here, it says they have limited civil and/or criminal jurisdiction. In other words, they create this court and then they assign it a jurisdiction depending on what the need is. Like for Houston, there's a court that all it does is hear drunk driving cases. Now you might think, why so many drunk driving cases? Well, go live in Houston and you'll figure it out. So they're assigned those particular cases. And then we have, of course, statutory probate courts created by the legislature. Wills need to be probated and to make sure that everybody's agreed that it's a fair will and it was done exactly right. And believe it or not, when you die, people will argue over your stuff. Now, the next level is, well, let me back up. If you're down here real quickly at the JP court or the municipal court and you want to appeal your case to the next level of these county courts, your appeal is going to be heard trial de novo, which means a brand new trial starts because they don't keep a record of what's going on down here. A brand new trial starts if you hear that appeal. So let's bring us up to the next level. Sorry, somebody was trying to get my drink over here off my wonderful table in this park bench outside Austin. The district courts. Now, these are the courts that deal primarily with felonies. If you're going to get arrested for murder or any other felony, this is the court that you will go to. They handle those, and they handle divorces. And so they have that kind of original jurisdiction. Attorneys, I mean, lawyers have to be attorneys here because they were created by the legislature. And they have original jurisdiction, but they do not hear appeals. They do not get appeals from lower courts. That's not within their purview. So that brings us to the Court of Appeals. There are 14 of these in the state of Texas, with 3 judges each. They hear cases in groups of 3. They hear appeals from district courts, state district courts, and county courts. Because remember, in a county court, you can't, when you're appealing, you don't go from here to the district court. It has to go all the way up to the Court of Appeals. And 3 judges hear your case based on what they call a writ of error. Now, if you're at the district court, and you were found guilty of murder and got the death penalty, you skip over the Court of Appeals and go straight to Court of Criminal Appeals. So the Court of Appeals, their judges, there are sort of 6-year terms, and they either have to be an attorney or a judge on a court of record for 10 years. So in other words, you could be a constitutional county judge, and that's a court of record, not be an attorney. And if you're on there 10 years, then you can run for that office. And that's true for our next 2 courts too. So at the top, we have our 2 highest Supreme Courts. Texas is one of 2 states that have 2 highest Supreme Courts. The other one's Oklahoma. We have the Texas Supreme Court, which is for civil cases only. It has 9 justices. And then you have the Court of Criminal Appeals. It's the highest court for criminal cases, and it has 9 judges. Now, when you're running for these offices, as you can imagine, the Supreme Court one is a highly contested one because they deal with lawsuits, and lawsuits have money involved. So, this is the Texas court system in a nutshell. There are people who want to reform it, maybe adopt what they so-called Missouri plan, in which you'd have a jury commission or a judicial commission, pick a list of qualified judges, and then the governor would appoint those people to positions, and then they would stand for retention elections as opposed to competitive elections, because you really have no way of knowing whether or not a judge is a good judge or not. So that sums that up. The next time when we meet, we will talk about a little bit about the due process in Texas and the death penalty cases, and then maybe even get into some local government issues, as that is part of our unit as well. But for now, I have to go. I'm supposed to go meet the governor. He's right across the street over here, and talk about a lot of issues. I'm sure he's there. Yeah, probably. But the wind's been really blowing. You can just hear it. And oh my God, looks like thunder clouds are coming in. So I'm gonna have to end this one, and we will do another one tomorrow to finish this all up. So good luck, and email me with questions. Email me, for God's sake. I'm getting lonely. I'm sitting in parks and places. Some questions, maybe some ideas about what you're doing during the lock-in. I will tell you, in my city, we accidentally sent out some people with $3 million water bills. That wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. So I'll catch up with you all later. I miss you guys. I mean, really, Mountain View classes, you guys were, I don't know, sort of the highlight of my day. I'd come in, and there's always those that were just really energizing. City politics is stressful, and I will tell you that coming into your class made it where all that stress went away. It's my happiest times is to sit there with all of you in your class. So, and I'm sad that we're not going to see each other again, unless I guess I could fail you all and make you take my class again, but that would be very uncool, and probably fairly unethical too. So even though I like you that much, I would never do that to you. But I will come up with some extra credit questions. I had a couple of people ask me that question. But keep an eye on things, okay? and say hi every once in a while. Send me a picture of your dog. Love dogs. Because I have a dog, right? He smells a little like peanut butter right now because I gave him peanut butter. Did you enjoy your peanut butter? He wants to get back down there to get to the peanut butter, and he's wrestling me. Obi, go on TV. Yeah, he's gone. Didn't care. So I will see y'all later.